watching AYV Television.
Surely indeed. It's good morning, Freetown. Good morning, Sierra Leone. Welcome to your favorite program. It's Wake Up Sierra Leone, live on the Africa Young Voices television. And you're also hearing us on radio this morning, as always, on 101.7. My name's Victor Jones.
And I am Alimatu Judge. Whether you're watching or listening to us from the provinces or in the capital city, or on Channel 33 or on DSTV Channel 399 from across Africa, you are most welcome.
Most welcome indeed. Whether you're watching us online from wherever around the world on this beautiful day, 6th of August, 2026, I say Akwaba.
We're broadcasting live from the top of Tower Hill in the heart of the city. Send us your comments through our socials on AYV News Facebook page and the stories that we cover this morning.
So this morning on the program, we're going to be discussing the surging digital fraud across Sierra Leone, WhatsApp hacking, phishing, mobile money scams across Sierra Leone. Parliament on Tuesday, of course, summoned the Minister of Communication, Technology and Innovation, Salima Monomaba. We shall be discussing the outcome of that particular scrutiny, cybersecurity threats, and how the public can protect themselves better.
We shall also be speaking to, we expect to be speaking to Ibrahim Bundu, former majority leader in the House of Parliament for APC, and Honorable Dr. Bernadette Lahai, former minority leader for SLPP, and they'll be giving their expert opinion on the ongoing amendments of the 1991 Constitution.
And this morning as well, 3 people, including an 8-year-old girl, have been killed after a wall gave way during heavy rains in the Mechkem community in Godrich, Western Freetown. Our man, George Battler Powell, shall be, of course, talking to us this morning about that.
But before all that, let's get a quick message from our sponsors and other advertisers, and we shall be right back with you. Please stay with us.
More and more people are using Wakeup SIM Copper Plus in their everyday lives. Did you hear that? She just transferred money for her daughter's school fees. And this man just paid for some products. Mr. Abu, are you sending money to your wife again?
Yes, like Wakeup SIM Copper. Yes, like having money in my pocket.
Excellent.
Thank you.
He just bought some eggs. The world is digital, so keep up with the times. Have you got a payment to make? If so, just download Wakeup SIM Copper Plus now. You can download the Wakeup SIM Copper Plus app from Apple iStore and iPad or Google Play Store for Android users. You see, it's fast, safe and reliable.
Morning, Ria, give me 30 Leone top up. Thank you. Hello, babe. How you dey do? Talk to Uba.
Hello? Hello?
Don't settle for a provider that cuts into your data and airtime.
Ria, give me all the 30 bills.
AfriCell gives you full value. AfriCell, now we network.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
I can take money, 2 MoneyGram.
Welcome our PC Foreign Exchange Bureau head office. Sit down.
Thank you.
You can write them.
Waiting that mean?
Where you can take money, 2 MoneyGram at Western Union and any PC and Son shop, including with head office. You dey get 1% cashback instant. Yes, ma. You not tap there. Every Thursday we can collect money. Now 59 Wellington Street. You say you dey showing at the head office for the foreign exchange. You dey get 1% of that money you can collect plus additional gift.
Wow! You mean say for me 1% I dey get gifts?
Yes, ma.
Waiting at the gift.
You dey get gifts like 5 kg paddy jasmine rice. You dey get gifts like paddy oil, paddy milk, paddy mayonnaise, and plenty other paddy things them.
Una, thank you.
You're welcome. And now you can call only go give you another lucky win and see what you go win you say.
Wait till you dey wait. No miss out on the Thursday special.
PC Foreign Exchange Bureau, the 1% the game plus Thursday special.
Here's how to send money overseas using AfriMoney and BNB. Dial *161#. Select option 1. Go to option 6 for overseas money. Press 1 for BNB. You'll see the list of countries you can send to. Enter receiver's full name. Enter the receiver's phone number. Enter the amount you want to send. Enter your PIN to confirm. You will receive an SMS confirming your transaction. Terms and conditions applied.
As mama, I always want waiting best for me picking them, especially when it comes up waiting them for eat and drink. Now this make I always they choose Sarah juice because they make come from with local foods them and nutritious and it gets less sugar than the other drinks them. Not to me say so.
We lab test show say Sierra juice gets 50% less sugar than the other drinks them na the market.
Because we mama they know waiting best for we picking them, now make we always they choose Sierra juice. Sierra juice and nutritious, a healthy and it's sweet. Sierra juice, not the taste of Salone.
Again, it's been a very crazy day. The joyous feeling in the air when rain falls on a sunny day. Happy, yeah. Let the stars, let the roll.
Enjoy life's little pleasures with Maltina. Maltina. Share happiness.
Wetin you be the fan don finally come. We don bring come we AfriCell loyalty program where they make you get loyalty points with every top up what you do with AfriCell.
The more you top up, the more points you go get, where you can now exchange for minutes, data, phones, discount, and even cashback.
In on top there, you can also gain points with every transaction what you dey do with AfriMoney. Any top up what you do with AfriCell, they count.
Dial *4232# for join the loyalty program for free and start for get you points now. The more you connect, the more you collect. Now the loyalty program from AfriCell.
AfriCell. Now we network.
All right, welcome back. This is a reminder, mildly so, that you're watching Wake Up, Sierra Leone, on the Africa Young Voices in Freetown, Sierra Leone. Now, Parliament yesterday adjourned the debate on the constitutional amendment bill to Monday, 10th August, after the House has spent hours scrutinizing clauses in its committee stage and could not finish in time. And the move came after Honorable Matthew Newma stood on SO 82 and Section 94 of the 1991 Constitution, raising a motion to suspend SO 59 for the debate to continue on another day.
During the passage, MPs spent ample time arguing different positions on peer system and 50% plus one presidential threshold. The House also took a unanimous approach on the clause dealing with allowance of persons in the diaspora to vote and be voted for.
The deliberations are expected to end in voting by counting, as both parties have disagreed on certain clauses to which pins were stuck. Notwithstanding this possibility, it is clear that none of the two parties have a 2/3 majority to pull through, except that they garner the support of PC MPs. But first, let's have this highlight from the proceedings yesterday.
Just because so moved that this House to take a resolution to sit on Monday, the 10th of August 2026. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
I so second, Mr. Speaker.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Motion moved by the leader of government business for the House to sit on Monday has been carried.
Are you not suspending any standing order? Mr. Speaker, I'm not coming. I have laid my foundation. I want to build this skyscraper. Yes. Yes. Mr. Speaker, as you are doing an amendment to the Constitution, I will start my application for the Constitution itself. It is a very serious business, the matter of delivering the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, I stand on the Constitution provision 94 to regulate ourselves, to make this application. Section 94 of the Constitution, Act number 6 of 1991. Mr. Speaker, I also stand on SO 82 to suspend a particular provision in the standing orders, SO 59, the whole of SO 59, to allow us to finish the business of constitutionality. Mr. Speaker, I so move that my amendment be accepted by my proposal be accepted by this House for the suspension of SO 59 using all the other provisions. In fact, using the wrong one. Mr. Speaker. Any seconder? Any seconder?
Yes, second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Motion moved by the leader of government business for the House to continue proceedings on the Constitution of Sierra Leone Amendments Act 2025 on the 4th session of Parliament has been carried.
Honourable members, this particular session is moved to Monday, the 10th of August 2026 at 10 a.m. prompt. But this sitting is adjourned to Friday. This session is moved to Monday. This session is moved to Monday. The sitting is adjourned to Friday at 10 a.m.
This morning, to get the expert opinion on the ongoing amendment of the 1991 Constitution, we have online the majority leader in the House of Parliament.
Now we would like to begin our discussions in the studio this morning. Indeed, as Alima has said, several things to talk about. I think we've been joined online this morning by former majority leader in Parliament for the All People's Congress, Honorable Ibrahim Bundu. If you can hear us, good morning, Honorable. Are you there? welcome to the program indeed. I'm sure you've been following the proceedings since they began almost a week ago, and the significance of all of what has been discussed in the House of Parliament. Among all of these clauses of legislation enshrined in this particular sensitive bill, which area do you think is perhaps the most crucial that is being debated at the moment? With Honorable Bundu this morning online. Hello, Honorable, can you hear me now? Here is expert, submissions this morning on the ongoing amendment in Parliament. Also, this morning as well, we shall be expecting to be joined by Honorable Bernadette Lahai, who was actually representing the Sierra Leone People's Party in Parliament at the same time that Honorable Bundu served in Parliament. But hello, good morning, Honorable. Can you still hear me? That's no luck as well. Quite unfortunate, but do bear with us this morning. We're having some problems, connecting with Honorable Bundu. But in the studio this morning, we're joined by Success who is from the National Disaster Management Agency. Of course, we've been having, ceaseless discussions about, the rains and the yearly problems they bring. Of course, flooding, mudslides, pockets of them across the country, So we would like to be discussing that. But in the meantime, just yesterday, our man, Judge Bartolo Powell, reported here on the Africa Young Voices that there was a sort of, a disaster in Godrich where a fence collapsed, and we'd like to bring you that report now. After that, we shall come to the studio back to discuss the issues.
Yes, I'll pick it Lonasi, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah.
Residents say the incident happened late on Sunday night at Abu Drive in Kalaun Kotbare, Mechkem, Godrich, Freetown, as persistent rainfall battered the area. They say a retaining wall suddenly collapsed onto nearby houses, killing 3 people, including a child, while others narrowly escaped.
The mommy will die and the granny are all the same compound. Understand? So this incident be happening Sunday, August the 2nd. By then 10 o'clock now this incident be happening. Be there inside room, so now the rain become, when the rain become, so now they were the sound where the fence be broke. So where the fence broke, so can now the try for say people. So the time now the try for can now need what be boku na this the place. So we no go pull that movement there. So the other people will be there inside the other room there now. They no come. So can broke the doormats there now. No pull it. So now they will go them down. But say where the water be reduced now, so now they will come first for pulling mommy there. The mommy now the picky waiting down picking. And then 3 be there. The mommy now has 60 something years. So they are picking her in 25 years, in picking her 8 years. Yeah, now yesterday we go bury. I don't care cemetery.
According to one of the family members, this is the exact spot where they found 3 women dead on that particular eve of this incident. one of the people found dead is an 8-year-old child hoping to return to school this coming academic year.
Relatives of the victims and neighbors allege that poor drainage near a nearby property contributed to the collapse. They are calling for a full investigation into what happened.
Compound where you see, so we get this green paint. So they can't build this fence. But we tell them, so we side the water be there or not, and that side them we go block. So where they make now iron them we go put there. So where the end be the canal, so dirty be don't go pack at the side. So that time now where the water the canal they balance this part. So where the water be the balance now, so now the water now so be the dig now. See, so that rain now we be can Sunday now the rain be heavy and the rain be big. So now they can broke the fence.
Well, this would never avoid the issue. Can build because we now immediately are really don't build another done. The point can start now you retain your area with that host day now. Or the retain your can we they make can will be they tell our water be there but we really na the compound. They tell and say this water can we make this retain your in order while this water they but we would rain the camp. The pipe they all the waste pipeline. Nah. The other 10 pass one make palava. We don't depend this stay past 5 years now. This problem, not to today, not to this year. And this year now, this accidents can now. Don't they tell and I say it will settle that problem. Don't they tell them, say we settle, don't they complain.
AYV approached those linked to the property for a response, but no one was available for comment. Families affected by the tragedy are now appealing for emergency assistance, saying they have lost both relatives and their homes.
Well, let Papa government watch, and let Papa government watch. Like I'm they watch me right now. You want to know the word? Let's see what's this problem. But right now, police then become the better day they watch. They say no, avoid the compound first. And right now, nobody know the sleeper. Like I just see so no more. Not the sleeper. Now never the first lodge say for until the 7 days ceremony. We don't do 7 after we don't do the 7 days. Hence I will get for before we're not going to the idea right now.
The affected families say their immediate priority is finding shelter as they await support from the authorities and humanitarian organizations. George Batilo Powell, AYV News, Freetown.
Indeed, many thanks to our man, George Battle Powell, for that report. So, as you've heard, we've seen the death of 3 women in that particular piece, and an 8-year-old girl as well in the same area who was supposed to begin school the coming academic year. Well, now to discuss all of these issues this morning, we've been joined by Success Ibrahim Kamara. He's head of PR and Comms at the Sierra Met Agency, the Sierra Meteorological Agency. Good morning, Success. It's been a while, of course, but whenever you're here, the discussions are surely coordinated around the weather and the science behind it. So far, how does it look this year? Does it look like we'll be getting a lot of rain or not?
Thank you so much. Good morning, listeners, and of course, good morning, viewers. It's always a pleasure to be on this platform on behalf of my management and staff at SLMet. We want to express our gratitude to the OIB management for giving us such a platform. Because in whatever we do at the agency, a single shot on a platform like this can go 1,000 or million miles. Yeah. So this morning, before delving much into your question and answering them, I just want to tell the people of Freetown how Freetown, Western area urban and Western, Western area rural looks like this morning, which it says from 6 a.m. this morning to 12 midday, we have partly cloudy, high chance of rain with scattered thunderstorms. Temperature is mild now, but leading to midday will be hot. And of course, we'll have moderate wind from northwest, meaning it's a northwesterly wind that is blowing across the western area urban. And of course, western area rural this morning as well. It's also partly cloudy with high chance of rain, mild to hot, and moderate wind from the northwest. So that's what we are actually experiencing across Freetown this morning as far as weather is concerned. But coming to your question about...
I'd like to apologize indeed, Success. I'd like to interject you just briefly. We've just been communicated to by the or floor manager that your mic is a bit defective. We're going to for a short break. We shall be back soon. Stay.
Here's how to update your details for Salon Payment Switch with AfriMoney. Dial *161#. Select option 1. Go to option 4 for Salon Payment Switch. Select option 2 for account registration. Select 1 to register your alias. You will receive an SMS with a WhatsApp link. Tap the link and provide a valid ID card and your last 5 transactions. Someone will help you update your accounts. AfriMoney, quick and easy.
Feels good to see your face again. It's been a very crazy day. The joyous feeling in the air when rain falls on a sunny day.
Happy, yeah. Let the stars, let the roll.
Enjoy life's little pleasures with Maltina. Maltina. Share happiness.
All right, welcome back. We are so sorry, for the, glitches that we're having this morning. We had begun discussions with Success. Ibrahim S. Kamara who is head of PR and communications at SLMet agency, before his mic went off. Success, if you would like to continue where you left off. Indeed.
Yes, good morning once again. I was just expressing appreciation from the management and staff of the Sierra Leone Meteorological Agency for this platform and all other platforms that have been provided for us during the course of our operations over the last 5 or 6 years. AYV been key in all of these. But I think the first question you asked was what is happening as far as weather issues are concerned. No. I could remember I was here, I think a month or more ago, I was here between 5th to, I think, 10th of May 2026 when we launched the seasonal forecast for 2026, which gives in each succeeding year a detailed complexion of what the rainy season looks like, which we also complement in also the dry seasonal outlook, which also comes out in January in each succeeding year. But before going further into the discussions, I just wanted the people of Freetown to know, particularly those who are following our daily weather forecast via our Facebook page. For those that are listening, just type Sierra Leone Meteorological Agency on Facebook. Our page will come up. You can follow it for your daily weather forecast as we go much into the rains. But for those who don't have access, we also have those that are part of our public groups. But there are also those who don't have access. And I'm saying that this morning, from what we have, the weather forecast, which we issued yesterday at 5 p.m., there's always a 1-hour window. We release it at 5 p.m. each succeeding day. We'll give you 1-hour window for you to look into it and then appreciate it, adopt it, and then it kicks in at 6 p.m. So the one that actually was issued yesterday from 6 p.m. will also last till 6 p.m. this evening when the new set of weather forecast, because the 24-hour forecast that we do, we kick in. But this morning across Freetown, Western area and Urban, it's in the morning. This is between 6 a.m. And interestingly, Sierra Leoneans, the daily weather forecast which we issue at the Sierra Leone Meteorological Agency is divided into 3 parts. We have the night, which is the dark hours, normally between 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning, and we have the morning between 6 a.m. and 12 midday, and we have the afternoon between 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. So now we are in the morning this morning between 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. and it says, as far as the weather is concerned, across Western area, Urban, it says it's partly cloudy with high chance of rain. And then, of course, with scattered thunderstorms, the temperature is mild to hot, and we have a northwesterly winds blowing across Western area and Urban, and also it's the same for Western area rural. As I just come in this morning, I am a legal practitioner by profession, of course, but I am in this shirt because I had to beat the rain to be here this morning. But all the same, with your question, what is happening currently as far as weather-related issues are concerned. Well, over the last 2 days or 3 days, I'm pretty sure, I think it was between the 2nd and the 3rd, we have been experiencing some heavy downpour of rain across Freetown, and that has led into some issues of extreme weather events, particularly caused by flash floods across a lot of few communities around Poto. From what we know, the Poto community behind Juba was a location over the years being used by the Ministry of Agriculture for nursing. It was a nursing yard. But there has been huge encroachment in that particular part of the city. And of course, due to flash floods over the last few days, there were some, reports that a lot of weather issues also happen around there. And of course, a lot of other communities around, as far as Mechkem, also where lives were lost. But as far as we are concerned, and what we published on 7th of May 2026, what we are seeing now is validating what we did say at that time. I could remember during the course of our publications, we had said that cumulatively across Sierra Leone and Freetown, particularly Sierra Leone or entirely Sierra Leone this year, there is going to be a deficit in accumulative rainfall. What do I mean by that? That's just as over the last 4 or 5 years, there is still a sharp drop in rainfall. Meaning, if you calculate all of the rains that is actually going to drop in 2026, there is a sharp drop, based on what we are able to release. And because of that also, there is variation across districts. Rains will be more here, and when you check the other locations, it's also less. And of course, we also had the issue of dry spell, which we spoke about at the beginning of May this year when we published the season forecast. That at the beginning of the season, there is also going to be long dry spell in specific areas. But the 2026 average cumulative rainfall for May, for June, for July clearly shows that the entire pattern is below average. Places like Karine, Koinadubu, Kono, Freetown. So accumulatively, we had said there is a deficit in the cumulative rainfall. But with all of these that we've said, we've also been looking to ensure that whatever predictions we make as far as the climate risk for 2026 are concerned, we also align it to data. So this year, when we publish the seasonal forecast for 2026, we look at a 30 years median, 30 years time span. We look at data from 2024, match it against 2025 to be able to see what we will see in 2026. And clearly, the 2026 expected cumulative rainfall for the May, for June, July, now we're in August. We're also not calculating what we're going to get in August. We have, for places like Freetown, particularly, we are going to experience 1,390 millimeters of rainfall. For a lot of listeners and viewers that are actually looking at me and perhaps thinking, how do we know millimeters of water? If you pick up a bottle like this, there's always a number on it that will tell you whether this is 50 millimeters. So this year, across Freetown alone, we have collected during the March, the June, the July period, 1,390 millimeters of rainfall. And in other places like Port Loko, Bombali, Cambia, we've experienced over 1,340. And in other places like Kono, Kaila, Falaba, Koinadugu, we've experienced around 1,190 millimeters of rainfall. So there's a deficit, clearly, from what we've said in our publications on 7th May, that there's a deficit. That is being validated as we go along, because we are seeing the variations. Mark you, a lot of people that are watching us this morning will agree with me that. How many rain did we get in May? How many did we get in June? How many did we get in July? It's only in August that over between the first and the fourth to now, we're experiencing amount of rainfall. But what we actually want to set clear is that at the beginning of the season in May, when we launched the seasonal forecast, we have told Sierra Leoneans that there's a deficit in accumulative rainfall. It's below average. But however,
the rains are still falling.
Yes, but however, we do not want people to come to us at the end of the day saying, oh, SLMet, you said there's going to be a deficit in rainfall, but now we are in August and it's raining. But we had said, and I will add, that there is a deficit when you count all teams. The rain on Boku. But when you come to the peak of the rainy season, which is the just period, because there are several periods within the course of the weather regime.
I just wanted to ask when we shall be having the highest rainfall this year.
Well,
so people will prepare.
Well, that's what we are actually into now. So normally we have the MJJ, the March, the June, the May, the June, the July. We have the JAS. We have the March, April, and May. We have the JJA. Then we have the Jazz period. This is where we are now. That is the peak of the rainy season. Between July, August, and September. And that is the peak of the rainy season. And during this peak of this rainy season, we had said in our forecast that there will be issues of extreme weather events such as flash floods. And that is what we have experienced across Freetown over the last 3 or 4 days, meaning our forecast is being validated. So we had said that we are not going to get too much rain in 2026. But however, at the peak of the season, that is the just period which we are in now, there is going to be some amount of rain that can lead to extreme weather events like flash floods, and that is what we have experienced over the last few days. But when you total all of the rainfall for 2026, what our prediction had actually published on 7th May clearly shows that there's a deficit in accumulative rainfall across Sierra Leone.
So success, one of the reasons we do have forecast is for people to prepare themselves ahead. For instance, you tell me today that tomorrow it's going to be raining cats and dogs. I'll, adjust my plans and my schedule and my routine and everything to adapt to that particular weather. This is Sierra Leone. We have people who don't understand English. They cannot read or write. And I understand that you do send forecast, right?
Yes.
First, kindly tell us, through which channels do you disseminate these weather alerts? Is it just television, radio, through which channels? Just let me know that first.
Thank you so much for the question. Well, clearly, since the establishment of the Sierra Leone Meteorological Agency over 100 years ago, I am the first communications person that was recruited in 2020. Over the years, I had come through the ranks. But what is clear is that when I joined the SLMet in 2020, one of the few things I was able to canvass management to do was, first of all, look at all what we are doing at the agency, including our daily weather forecast regime, our marine forecast regime, and our agromet forecast regime, and even the forecast for the aviation sector. How we can simplify them, and how the media can play a central role in those kind of efforts. So the first thing we did over I think 6 months into my employment there was to organize the first customized media briefing for media practitioners across print and the broadcast. And when we did that, we were able to gauge the views of the media to know how exactly they want to help us simplify our weather forecast. And that particular training had continued over the years. But what we had done in simplifying the much ambiguous work we do at the agency, because I tell you, at SLMet, the kind of work we do there is it's very much scientific. In fact, over the years, a lot of people will agree with me that if an expert from SLMet comes to the air to speak on issues, on things that are happening there, you will not be able to really effectively understand whatever is being communicated. So what we did was not only to simplify, but also to bring innovative ways in ensuring that we take weather and climate information dissemination, including last mile delivery. So let me tell you what we've done over the years. Apart from engaging the media and bringing the media on board in what we do, we are also engaging local farmers through what we call Farmer Field School. Mark you, every year when we publish the national seasonal forecast during the course of the rainy seasons, we also give it what they call agroclimatic characteristics. It's a big word, but it means that we are going to give it information that also relates, to agriculture. Mark you, all of the foods we eat in this part of the world is from agriculture. And our agricultural activities across Sierra Leone is 100% rain-fed. It's just with this feed salon over the years, we understand that there's a form of irrigation in Tomabum and other places that they're trying to put up. But greatly, our agricultural activities is rain-fed. So what we've done over the years is to engage in farmer field schools. So as I sit here now as head of communications at SLMet, I have traveled over the 12 or 16 districts in this country, engaging farmers. Just recently, we came back from as far as Beria Timbako in Falaba and Mungo and some other places. We've also gone to Moyamba district as far as Matrujong, and we've also gone as far as Bonth, etc., etc. So we are simplifying these messages or the information, the weather, climate information, especially those that have to do something with agriculture, by engaging local farmers through farmer field school. And these are the information that we've taken to them for the onset of rainfall, because whenever we release the seasonal forecast, when I said it had agroclimatic characteristics, it means that we also give information that will tell the people of Sierra Leone and local farmers about the onset, when rain they begin, and the cessation of rain, when rain they cease. So this year, on the onset of the rainfall, we had said there was late onset of rainfall in areas like Koinadugu, Karine, Bombali, Falaba, etc. Meaning rain didn't start in those places, early. But normally rain started in Port Loko, Tonkolili, Kono, Kenema, Kaila, Moyamba, Bonth. It had normal onset. But there was no place across Sierra Leone that actually had, early onset of rainfall. But we are simplifying these messages to farmer field school.
The concern here is the fact that many people who live in these disaster-prone areas are people who may not be able to speak or understand English. And this is the country in which we have more than 16 languages, am I correct?
Yeah.
And I know you're doing the best you can in the circumstance, but what is being done right now to ensure that those who badly need the forecast actually gets it? For instance, if a person in one of these villages that you just mentioned now tune into their radio, and then it's weather forecast. You know how these people speak when they give their weather forecast. That person might not even understand what they're saying. Are you putting things in place to ensure that farmer, as you just mentioned, farmer in the village who cannot speak English, neither Creole, but maybe speaks Mende, speak Timini, Limba, or any other language, gets the message and know that, okay, tomorrow I shouldn't bother to go out because I'm not going to be able to do what I need to do, even if I did. Am I making...
No, it's quite sensitive.
So what is your agency doing? Because that's your job, I assume.
So this is what we have done over the years, as I was saying. For every district, including the 16 districts in this country that we have been to, we have engaged over 5,000 farmers over the last 5 years or more.
But are you also aware?
I am coming, and in all those areas, whenever we interface with local farmers, and even for the extreme weather event that happens across Freetown, about 2 years ago, the SLMA trained local volunteers and distributed local rain gauges. Local rain gauges, we have now the advanced ones, which is the rainfall stations, which we have over 60 across this country. But we have trained local, especially the vulnerable communities across Freetown. Oloshoro, Aberdeen, Laka, Hamilton, the Bay here, etc. We have trained local volunteers over the years and distributed, local rain gauges to them to also be able to measure the rainfalls in their local communities. And those information are then transmitted to the agency whenever there are issues of extreme weather event. But again, at the NDMA, which is the institution responsible for disaster response and recovery, the technical pillar that is there is led by SLMET. And at the NDMA, there is an active and functional situation room that is activated right across the rainy seasons and even in the dry seasons, that meet on a weekly basis. And in those meetings, we have local volunteers and community partners that comes to those meetings and discuss, and we give them the daily weather forecast, which they also take to their local communities. But as far back as the farms are concerned, I said we are also distributing, weather information to local farmers through Farmer Field School. Over the last 2 years, we started signing MOUs with local community radios in places like, as far as Bonth, I think we had signed an MOU with Radio Modka in Moyamba. We had signed an MOU with Radio Jange in Bonth. Recently, we also signed another MOU with Radio Messe as far as Falaba. So we are also incorporating the local community radios in this to ensure the last mile delivery becomes very effective. And what we are also doing for all of those areas where we have presence of our weather infrastructure, we also have local volunteers that we've recruited that's working with the agency that speak the languages of those people. For instance, as I came into the studios this morning, our weather representative in Matrujon just sent me a copy of the local language in the local language in which he has transmitted or be able to interpret the daily weather. He just sent me the set for today, which I'm going to review after this interview. So we are doing all of this. Is it enough? No. We need to do more. There have been discussions over the years about the agency also reactivating its daily weather app. We used to have a daily weather app that was the SMA Daily Weather app that was in Google Play Store. But that particular app came through the support of a project which we had with UNDP some few years ago. That ended, but now the agency has been able to incorporate that into our activities, and we're trying to revive it. A lot of people are also saying that to ensure that a lot of people come on board, bring the community radios on board. And we've been canvassing them over the years. Capital Radio has come on board. We've been speaking, and also been in speaking terms with AYV to ensure that, for instance, when you come in the morning, just like I did, just dish out our daily weather forecast for the local, for the entire city, and also other community radios are coming on board. Voice of Kono is coming on board, Bitumani has come on board, Afri Radio has come on board, Sky 106 has come on board, Radio Messe. So we want more community radios to come on board.
In Timini, in Yalonka,
exactly,
in Limba, and other local languages.
I think that is what we are working towards.
These people need to know what's happening.
I agree. I 100% agree with it. And that's what we are working towards, to ensure that we do weather forecast in local languages. But these things comes with funds or resources. And those are the kind of discussions the agency is having. And because not only we've had this from most of our farm and fiscal operations across the country, and also our workshop and seminars which we've had across Sierra Leone over the last 5 or more years. A lot of people are saying the weather forecast is useful. The meteorological agency should be at the heart of the feed saloon, because our agricultural activities is grain fed, and that is what we are doing now. For everywhere we have a weather infrastructure, we have an officer that's a local. In fact, now we are now recruiting locals from the areas where we have our weather infrastructure. Recently, we are working with AH, Action Against Hunger, and to our credit and the credit and the government of Sierra Leone, we now have an agreement weather station, in Moyamba town. We have one in Matrujong. We are now putting one up in Falaba in Mongo, and one in Beria Timbako, also in the Falaba district.
Many Sierra Leoneans still feel they receive warning too late. How effective do you think our early warning system is as a country at the moment? Where do we stand?
I'm pretty sure for most meteorological or hydrological outfits or institutions across Africa, because there's a landmark effort by the UN to ensure that early warning information dissemination gets to last mile by 2027. So to ensure that works very well, SLMet, my agency, is at the heart of that, including the National Disaster Management Agency we've been working with over the years. So we are doing our best to ensure that last mile delivery becomes not only sustainable but very effective. Early warning information, as far as the agency is concerned, we've been releasing it in time and on time. Mark you, we have 2 seasons across Sierra Leone, the rainy seasons and the dries. We know that the first drop of rainfall, we are to experience it in every May in each succeeding year. So that is why the first week of May, for the last 5 years, we've been very much consistent. We released the national seasonal forecast to ensure that citizens, local partners, and the NDMA, which is responsible for disaster response and recovery, gets the information in time, activate the situation room, and ensure that they deal with issues of extreme weather events whenever they occur. So there are still gaps, I tell you, because resources are needed. Like I said, we still need a mammoth involvement or a Chinese involvement of local community radios in the work that we do, and we are also hoping that in the few years to come, and these are the issues I'm pretty sure that AYV and other media houses should actually be canvassing on behalf of the agency, that when we go into the financial year for 2027, that SLMet gets some resources, so that, because a lot of research that has come out over the years, the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, released a particular publication, I think some years ago, 5 or 7 years ago, which clearly shows that Sierra Leone is the 3rd vulnerable nation to climate change disasters across the country. Have we come up a bit along the ladder where that is actually, should be subjected to research? But with all of this information that are coming, it clearly shows that our meteorological or hydrological institutions in Sierra Leone should actually be at the heart of financing, because the information saves lives, it also saves properties, and it also creates resilience across communities. So I think going forward, these are some of the real issues that we should be talking about. I want to see a situation where the AYV will one day get somebody from Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Environment, and the SLMet, and all the other sector players to come and talk about how we take a sober case to government to ensure that there's more investment in SLMet. For instance, if you ask me, I want a weather sessions at State House. I will say that boldly. We have one at our forecasting house now at our hill, where our forecasting house is towards Sileska, of course, and Slurry. We are at the extreme end between Foreign Affairs Academy. We have one synoptic weather station there. But the standard for the WMO is that we say every 20 yards, 20 or 30 yards, there should be a weather station. Interestingly, For even where I hail from, Pujaung, we only have a rainfall station there. We are yet to have an in-situ or a station meteorological infrastructure. So we are looking forward to all of those discussions and ways by which we can get resources to invest more in the meteorology that we do and its infrastructure. And that is the kind of discussions, my lady, I think when we go forward, we want to be talking about.
Let's talk briefly about, air quality before we could join, Honorable Bundu online. I think it was 2 months ago when, the Freetown City Council, aided by the mayor, I'm sure in connection with, the SL Met agency, installed some air monitoring machines across, some parts of Freetown to monitor the air quality in Sierra Leone. I've been checking actually quite frequently because, of course, I'm also an environmental journalist, to see these data online. Up till now, I've not been able to see a shred of these data. What's happening with the air quality data? It's still not available online. What's wrong?
Interestingly, these are all complementary efforts.
It's been almost 2 to 3 months now.
The Meteorological Agency is the institution as per what is provided for in the 2017 Meteorological Agency Act, as amended in 2022, as the sole institution to deal with issues of weather and climate change. And that covers air quality, etc., heat, temperature, rainfall, winds, etc., etc. And the efforts of FCC probably could be complementary. But if you want information relating to air quality, the agency has a storage of data spanning 60, 100 years or more. I tell you, when I started my submission, I said the Met agency is over a century old. To tell you, if you go to the agency, because normally it goes through formalities, you have to write formally to the Director General, Sierra Meteorological Agency, F18 Charlotte Street.
To get this data.
Yes, and that will be provided to you. We are providing data to the public. What we call it.
The bureaucracy is too much. These days people have their smartphones.
So if
I'm checking now, there's nothing
if FCC
here.
is doing that.
Now, of course, all the cities in the world, there are data for air quality, wind, speed, and everything else. It should be online.
So probably
Why
you
should people write to the SLMet?
So probably you should engage
data.
FCC. I hold no brief for FCC. I speak for SLMet.
I thought perhaps these machines were under the supervision of the SLMet.
Well, SLMet is the institution responsible for all of these works.
Yeah.
Others can complement. For instance, the 2022 amendment to the 2017 SLMet Act established a climate change department at the agency. And as I sit and speak here, based on the few reformations that have been done at the agency since His Excellency the President appointed Alex Joseph Mami as Deputy Director General and Admin in 2026, with all the other leaders with the leadership that is there, including Ibrahim Sine Kamara and also Mr. Gabriel Paka, who is also the head of operations. The climate change department has become now functional, with also a head that is working there, with all the staff is working. So the Met agency is the sole institution responsible for all of those. If I tell you that we don't have partnership with the FCC, I'll be telling a lie. Clearly, we've been working over the years, but specifically for what you just raised, I am begging that you speak with the FCC. Probably they'll be able to give you an insight into what they are doing. But like I said, if you want data relating to rainfall, you want any kind of data as far as weather parameters are concerned, ensure that you come to the agency and we will provide you those kind of information.
We'll come back to you definitely. Online, I've been joined by, Honorable Ibrahim Bundu, who is former majority leader in the House of Parliament. Good morning, Honorable. Can you hear me this time around? Just hope you can hear me. Indeed.
Hello. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning, Honorable. Thank you so much indeed for joining us this morning. It's a pleasure to, speak with you this morning. I'm sure definitely you've been following the proceedings in Parliament since they began almost a week ago. And, the various bottlenecks, the scrutinies that we've been listening to from both aisles, the opposition and the ruling, benches in Parliament. Such a crucial legislation, if you ask me. But as an experienced lawmaker yourself and legislator who had served, quite formidably in this country with a wealth of experience in these kinds of matters, which particular, area of this piece of legislation would you say is the most crucial in Sierra Leone at this time?
Well, yeah, thank you very much. One of the roles and responsibility in the Constitution provides for members of Parliament is to make laws and amend laws. So what is going on in Parliament is not anything new, because that is one of the main functions of a parliamentarian. I know the attention it has taken, or the attention that the public has given to this, is one that I would say the enormity of the number of or the amount of amendments that is going on, especially with the Constitution. Remember, this Constitution, 1991 Constitution, has been going through a review for the longest time. So people have been patiently waiting. So for now, to see that anticipation is now a reality going on in Parliament, I'm sure that is one of the eye-catching attention that you are now seeing. And can you hear me?
All right, Honorable, I can hear you loud and clearly.
Hello?
Yes, Honorable, I can hear you. Please proceed with your, deliberation. I can hear you.
Yes, I think we have up to about between 10, 20 amendments. So it's going to be a very huge task. That is the reason why you see parliamentarians are giving all their time to make sure that they don't fall short of the expectations of the people. And the way the debate is going, it's very healthy. I mean, people have the country. Some of them have the country at heart. Some of them are also protecting their political party, which is not always a crime when it comes to politics and political debate. You must weigh between the two, but you look at where the interest is more demanding. That is the national interest. So we are still waiting and we are still monitoring, because as we speak, it is still a bill. That means these are proposals made by the government. It's a government bill. That's why you see the Attorney General piloting it. So members are looking at it from their own perspective, bringing on board the wishes of the people, bringing on board how their political parties will look at it. So it's a multifaceted way of debating when it comes to amending a constitution, because it's a national document that binds us and that is going to be operational once an assent of the president, when it is passed, it's given to it.
We'll talk about, the electoral system, which by far is, I would say, is the elephant in the room, the holy grail as far as these particular discussions are concerned. I know that the All People's Congress, the opposition, is kicking hard against, using the PR, which the ruling bench says it's perhaps the most ideal for this country. Which side do you err in the debate?
Well, since I'm not voting, I want to just analyze from what the members of parliament are saying. Those for the PR are giving reasons like it will take away the rights of the people to choose their leaders. It hibernates the representatives from their people, and those in favor are saying it is taking away a lot of financial burden from the government coffers, and that money can be used for other developmental purposes. All of these observations or all of these reasons are very good reasons to look at. However, if I'm to be in that before the vote, I will look at those who are talking about the isolation of members of parliament or the people not knowing their representatives. For example, there was first past the post severally done during 2007, 2012, 2018. So we all know what the first past the post is, and of course, post that, before that, there was also first past the post, which the people of this country are very, very much used to. In fact, that was the reason why when I was in Parliament in 2002, before we went for the 2007 election, we advocated very, very seriously for us to get back the first past the post, because that was what was coming from the people. But the question of putting an argument that the people are deprived of their chances to choose their own leader, I don't buy that, because the political party have a responsibility to make sure they equitably distribute the members of parliament representation to the various localities that they used to have. Remember, this district block system, how is it mentioned in terms of representation? It's as a result of the constituencies that have been in existence. For example, like Port Loko, we've always been having 10 constituencies. So if now we are going on a district block, and as a political party, we have to distribute our members of parliament, all you need to do, if you come from a certain area, say like Lunge or Lokomasama, those people who are interested to come to parliament from that area, they will be organized to go to what I call a primaries. So the sequence of that result would be the one to be presented as against the other constituencies. So the question of saying the people will be isolated from choosing their leader, let it be looked alongside what I am trying to say here. So of course, the members of parliament have the final say when it comes to votes, which we are expecting. But the arguments are very good. The arguments are very, very, some of them are very nationalistic. Some of them are partisan. But that is not something you dismiss. That is just politics as usual, you know. So these are some of my observations. So I'm looking at what the members of parliament are saying and what is the other side of the argument. This is what I'm trying to present.
Let's talk about the threshold. So the bill before Parliament that is being debated at the moment is pushing to replace the 55% threshold before our candidate can be declared a president to simple majority. What do you think this will mean for Sierra Leone? Because critics are arguing that if this is done, then it will take away the constitutional guarantee for president to have an absolute majority, well, a candidate to have an absolute majority before he can be declared president. What's your take on this? Honorable Bundu, can you hear me? I think we've lost the honorable there.
It appears as though we have lost, Honorable Bundu online. We shall try indeed, before the program ends this morning, to get him again so that we could finish up that particular conversation. But many thanks indeed to Honorable Bundu for sharing his experience and insight into, the current debate in Parliament. I know that everyone is quite concerned as it deals with the future of elections in Sierra Leone. But back to the studio, we're still with Success, I.S. Kamara, who is head of PR at the SL Met Agency. Success, let's briefly discuss, access to data. These days, access to data has become quite simple for a lot of people, particularly so with the invention of smartphones, tablets, and online. It's now convergence, more or less, media that we're using. I mean, how can SLMed, I know that there are a lot of challenges, including funding, which you've just discussed before we joined Honorable Bundu online, but how can you make it simpler for people to get these data online without having to write, to the SLMed or even go to your offices to get data?
Yeah. Thank you so much. I think the first thing we should do is to invest in the agency. Like I said, there are still areas where we do not have presence. Pujon does not have a synoptic or even a manual weather station. Falaba, we are trying to do 1 or 2 with action against hunger. Karine, we don't have any. Recently, we've been able to put some up in Port Loko and some other areas that we are expanding. So the first thing we need to do first is to be able to close the gap as far as our weather infrastructure is concerned.
Okay.
But in the absence of closing the gap, what are we doing and what can we do better? The system we have at the agency now, because the kind of information that we deal with is not only huge, but it's also sensitive, but also recalling from the past. Before the war, if I can just at least bore people with a short history about the agency. The SLMet was established by the British, first known as the British Meteorological Services of West Africa. Countries like Niger, Ghana, Gambia came here to do meteorology. But over the years, we all know what happened. We had war. The agency's meteorological infrastructure got destroyed. And over the years, with its management that have changed hands onto what we have now, a potent one, a very effective one, decided to move the agency forward to work with partners. And we started working with the UNDP. We had worked with the World Bank. We're still working with them. We've also worked with the AVDP through IFAD. We're also working with the Food System Resilience Project via the Ministry of Agriculture, and also building a partnership now with SMIDA and others. And we are trying to build the infrastructure. But what we have now, if you need data from the agency, it's still an old system as everybody can see it. But we are also trying to improve on it. And how are we doing that? The system we have now is for you to write to the Director General at F18 Charlotte Street office, requesting specifically what you need, and that can be provided for you, probably spanning over a week or 2. But in 2024, we started the discussions with the World Meteorological Organization, which is our umbrella organization. Mark you, we are a WMO certified institution, meaning our operations, our instrument is subjected to compliance monitoring every year.
Okay.
Meaning we have experts that comes from the WMO to look at what we are doing. As I speak here right now, we are trying to develop our quality management system, QMS, which is also supported by the WMO. But in 2024, we started the discussions with the WMO West and Central Office in Ethiopia and Kenya, who were here just 3 months ago to help the agency put up its new website. We used to have one that's now obsolete. It's now diminished over the years when we had some efforts with UNDP, and that one, of course, had gone dormant over the years. But over the last 3-4 months, we had some support from the WMO Central West African office, who came to help us build our new website. And as I speak here now, if you go to www.slmed.gov.sl, you will see that our new website is up. And what that website has done is the magic, and it's the answer to the question that you have asked. Now, the agency has the ability to do data exchange with big meteorological institutions across the world, including the WMO, the ACMAD, and also agreements, and of course other data hubs across the globe. And with that, we are cleaning our data, we are also giving it value, and we are also making it accessible. So for now, you can be at the WMO in Geneva and tap into SLMet, daily weather data that we are generating. Mark you, the agency works across over 3 sectors. We are working at the aviation sector via the air traffic control. I have said this on all of the media platforms that have been provided, that if SLMet is not at the airport, no plane will land or take off. Because the science of landing off and taking off is what we do at the agency. Whenever a plane wants to land, we have to be able to measure between the height of the plane and the ground. And that particular information known as META and TAF is being given to pilots to ensure that they navigate for safe landing. So our presence at the aviation sector is also very key. And there we are also, also producing and storing data. We're also storing data across the marine sector as well. Mark you for seafarers, for sea transport, those settles along the sea, be it Bonds, be it Yeliboya, be it Yagoy, be it Konakudi, be it Laka, Hamilton, etc. We are giving marine forecasts on daily basis. We're also giving agromet forecast, which is also being developed by our agromet weather forecast across the country, that gives you the content of the soil, whether it's waterlogged, and also tells you the temperature of those communities. And those information are being translated and transmitted to local farmers through interpretation otherwise, as I did mention. So with the website now, we are working now to see how you can do applications via the website, making it easier whenever you need data. But the traditional method which we still have by writing to our office is still in force. But like I said, in 2025, His Excellency appointed another powerhouse to the agency to ensure that we move it forward. A lot is cooking, a lot is happening. I have always argued for the feed salon to be very effective, the Sierra Leone Meteorological Agency should be at the heart of it. And that is what, through the Office of the Minister of Agriculture, through the Food Systems and Resilience Project, the agency is also providing daily agromet information to local farmers. But we are working hard to ensure that it becomes user-friendly and also accessible via our website.
Success, let's talk about the tragic incident that occurred a few days ago at Mechkem, Godrich. I'm sure you're collaborating with NDMA.
Yes.
And other institutions, of course. Were there any advice, alerts sent before that day? Do you have an idea what really happened? What led to the collapse? Was it too much rain? Was it poor construction? What happened? We need to know, because people died.
Yes, and I have the statistics, and I'm going to give you all the areas that we recorded. So between the second, the third, and where we are, some of the reports we've had, I think we had a report in Porto, like I said, places affected. It was normally used by Agric, like I said. We also had at Mechkem, and of course, at Porto, 2 kids' lives were lost. And at Mechkem, there are also incidences of Femi Turner Drive. We have vehicles we are lost. Of course, we are drowned in runway water. And of course, Koletam, Kamayama, Levuma Beach, Ridgent, Thunder Hill, Krube, Bongawaf, Dundas Street, etc., etc. So in all of these areas, we have now what we call at the agency, those are trainings that have been provided to our meteorological observers and our climatologists and of course forecasters at the agency over the last few years about what we call common alert protocols. It could be ambiguous, it could be an alien word to the public, but within our operations at the agency, it means that once weather issues are happening and weather extreme events are happening, there are parameters that are recorded: strong winds, more rain in the system, or maybe more temperature, and those alerts are published via our website. We are looking for, like I said,
how many people would have access to these websites?
Well, it's been given to the public, like I said. One of the ways we tell people about what is expected to happen in each succeeding day is embedded in the daily weather forecast.
So was there? Did you send?
Of course, there was. In fact, a few days before that, we had some alert from our global world, our global partners, including Agreement and ACMAD, looking across Africa what was being expected. We got those information. But back home, what we do normally, mark you, it's dealing with weather is quite a very sensitive exercise. I can remember in 2024 there were some extreme weather events in Asia. Within a twinkle of an eye, the head of the meteorological outfit, I don't know whether it was in Afghanistan or where, whether it was part of Asia, I don't know. But I can remember that the head of the meteorological institution was fired. So issues of weather is very, very more sensitive. I can give you another insight. 2-3 years ago, a very huge mobile company just woke up one morning and started distributing daily weather forecasts. As head of communications, I picked it up in the media and I brought it up to the attention of the management. That was an affront on our provisions provided for in the Agencies Act as amended. But what did we do? We called their attention and we gave them what the law says, that SLMet is an institution that's its own institution that's responsible in doing
Don't you
this.
think that was an opportunity for you to collaborate?
Well, there was an opportunity.
They have a wider coverage.
Well, what they were doing, that they were using data that was not validated and sanctioned by the agency. Mark you, there are 3 things you need to get across the globe to be able to operate a meteorological outfit. 1,
You need to have the weather infrastructure itself. You need to have agromet stations. You need to have marine stations. You need to have synoptic stations. You need to have pumas. There are a lot of other instruments for operation. They don't have.
So the question is,
yes,
why didn't the agencies see this? I mean, why didn't you see it as an opportunity to actually reach out to as many people as possible? So what you could have done in the circumstance is collaborate with these people, give them the right data, well, the correct data that should be taken out to the people. Because I asked you earlier, I mean, which channels are you using to disseminate your alerts? Clearly, you don't, it's not as effective or efficient as you would want it to be. You are not where you want to be. But if you have a telecommunications company that will be willing to collaborate, I assume, I think it's a beautiful opportunity to send your message to as far as it can go. Because even the farmers in the most isolated villages carry these phones and they see these things.
Yes, interestingly, I may want to agree with you, but I will disagree a bit. On the point of fact, for instance, for a mobile company to just wake up one day and infringe upon another person's work, disregarding your law, taking over what you are asked to do as per law provides, and going further to even contract a foreign company to be giving them forecast when they have their own state institutions became a problem to us. So yes, we want to work with them. We wanted to work with them. We want to work with them, but they wanted to work with a third party. So we shut them down. Well, there are discussions, there are very reasonable discussions ongoing to ensure that we bring not only AfriCell, not only Orange, not only QCell, but every other mobile operator to also simplify and ensure that our information reach the last mile. So there's a lot of those discussions ongoing, but we want to ensure that you do the right thing. Like I said, to be able to operate meteorological institutions across the world, you need to first have the infrastructure. They didn't have the infrastructure. Two, you need to have the expertise. Like I said, our institutional assessment is housing two of the only two chartered meteorologists in this part of the world, just like chartered accountants, in the person of the Director General on Operations, the Deputy Director General on Operations, and the Director General as well. So we are working hard through local volunteers. Like I said, there's a situation room with NDMA, which is our sister partner as far as disaster response, and the recovery are concerned. We are talking every day. In fact, a couple of days ago, I was on 98.1 with the Director General, Mr. Vandy Rogers. Yesterday again at Epic Radio, I was also on set with the Deputy Director General, Suleiman Sowa. So that is a synergy. That's the kind of relationship we have. But last mile delivery is now at the heart of what we're doing at the agency. That is why I recall the Farmer Field School. We're also doing community radios as well. Like I said, we're also doing our WhatsApp groups. We are doing the Facebook page using the social media. And we are also now training our local volunteers across the country to ensure that they are also be able to help in transmission and translating the daily weather forecast into local languages. But we need resources to ensure we do this effectively so that at the end of the day, everybody will be brought on board. But our target is always the public, and we will ensure we keep doing our best. Is it enough? No, my lady, it's not enough. We still need to do more. We still need to build the infrastructure. We still need to bring more people to the agency, as a way of expanding our network across the country. But to tell you that we have not been able to do that which we can do within our grip and our powers and the resources at the agency over the years, I tell you, we've been doing it. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we used to get, spontaneous information from the agency, but we've upped our game over the years. My brother Jones here, and of course, Remy, who has been working with us at AYB here, and all other community radio stations and TV stations across the country that can actually attest to the fact that where we were yesterday, I think Mr. Jones will agree with me, we've made some huge progress, as you can see in the discussions.
So I'm assuming that part of your goal is to, of course, protect lives and properties.
Clearly.
So I want to ask this. Beyond issuing forecasts, what other practical steps is ELMET, taking to ensure that lives and properties are safeguarded?
Yeah, we're doing quite a lot. We're also working in the marine sector. We had a coastal induced project a few years ago. It ended with the UNDP, where we had a component on early warning information dissemination in the coastal areas. And we had a very innovative way in which we carried out that particular effort. I could recall the project ensured that we bought mobile phones. In fact, in the first place, we engaged the local communities, brought in the Sierra Leone Maritime Administration and harbour masters, and also fishermen. We brought them all on board, trained them in over 8 communities, 8 or 9 communities, including Conakry, Bond, Shenge, Laka, Hamilton, Yeliboya, Yagua, in all of those, Tortu Island, in all of those areas. And then we were able to identify some people that were lettered, which we gave mobile phones. And then on those mobile phones, at that time, our daily weather, our weather, the Meteorological Agency daily app that I was talking about, which we are trying to revive, that was on Google Play Store, was then downloaded onto those phones, and which carried daily weather forecast and also marine information, which were downloaded, which were read every day, because we identified people who could read and write. But then the issue came up. Something came up about when we were not the read and write. What about us that cannot read and write? So let me tell you what we did. The agency came up with a very innovative way to ensure that those who cannot read and write are also brought along. So what did we do? We decided to bring in indication posts, color flag, color coding. So for instance, if you take a look at the slides of the daily marine forecast that comes out from the agency, it will tell you that between 2 to 4 p.m., 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., there's going to be low tide, which tells you that the sea is calm. We change that color coding to white. So we identify harbor masters who could change it to white, and then if it says between 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. there's going to be high tide, we can change it to red depending on the height of the tide. And if that particular information also carried visibility. I can remember, I think it was in 2023 or 22 or 23, we had the issue of boats colliding between Yagoe and Yeliboya. Do you know what the cause was? The cause was around the issue of visibility. How far can you see at sea? Okay. So the marine information the agency produces every day carries information about how far you can see, whether it's 30 meters, whether it's 20 meters, whether it tells you exactly how far you can see to be able to protect you. But getting those information to those mariners across, those doing sea transport across the Atlantic, across the seas, those that are settled in those communities, and those that are doing fishing as well, like I tell you, there is also a gap in disseminating those information, but it's all tied to resources, like I say.
So what advice would you give to residents living in these flood-prone areas, these coastal communities, hilly or rough terrains? At what point, what should I say, what particular signs should they look for during prolonged rains and know that, okay, at this point, I think we should spring into action? This is where we get to evacuate our family members. This is where we get to leave this area for now and do this and do that. What advice would you give to these people?
That's quite interesting. In fact, just hear me looking back what we've done over the years. So 3 years ago, the agency trained local volunteers across, if not 60% of the vulnerable areas. There are 72 or 71 vulnerable communities or vulnerable areas across the Western area. There are more across the country, but from what we know, the data that we have. So what we did was to train local volunteers and then gave them manner engages that they mount in their local communities. And there's a science around the manner engages. So sometimes when we tell people that we can tell you exactly how many rain fell last year in Kailahun, or how many we had in Pujahun, or how many we had in Bo, somebody will want to ask, SLMet, how are you able to measure that water? But what we do over the years is to ensure that we have rainfall stations, but wherever we put a manner gauge or a rainfall station, it has to be in an open area where there will be no interference of a house or a tree that could collect more water, and that will be more. So we put it in an open area that collects the actual rainfall that drops. So 3 years ago, we trained local volunteers in about all the vulnerable areas across the West area particularly, gave them local rain gauges, and then we taught them, we had to teach them how to read those rain gauges. Mark you, the rain gauge is like a funnel. If you take a rain gauge, it looks like a funnel. It has markings with numbers. So they know that it has from 1 to 20. So this is a threshold for every local community where there's a manner rain gauge. If it starts to rain, let's say it rains over an hour or 2, and then those local rain gauges collect 20 millimeters of rainfall. If it collects 20 millimeters of rainfall as per the measurement in the funnel, and then it continues to rain for 1 more hour, there is possibility of flash flood in those local communities.
How many communities do have these rain gauges at the moment?
Well, I think we did over 15 or 20 communities.
So what are we waiting for to take rain gauges to all the other communities?
Like I said, the agency is willing and able and capable to expand, and that is what we are doing. So once that is picked up, that's 20 millimeters, it's a flag
via the situation room at SLMet, and then that with the MDMA. So it is an MDMA in our system now will now have to monitor using our forecasting models. You know, this is a complex system, but we have models that we use. ECM, WF, there are many we use to ensure that we monitor the weather. Some we tap into the UK Met office, some through ACMAD. You know, these are weather institutions across West Africa and also AgriMet. So we monitor.
So what about communities who don't
So
have
once that threshold is hit, then the situation room can take it
What
from
about communities that do not have rain gauges?
So what we do, you know that in this part of the world where we operate, disseminating information relating to extreme weather events is very, very much, it's a sensitive issue. I can remember we had some issues a year or two ago when we woke up one morning and across Freetown, the entire atmosphere was clogged in dust. Yeah. So we looked into our model. I think I was on AYV for that particular discussion that day. We looked in our model, then we realized that a huge set of wind has blown across the Sahara Desert. And we're in the Sahel region. It's been moving across Ivory Coast. It's been moving across Ghana. It came as far as Sierra Leone. So we picked it up, and then we also issued a release that citizens across Freetown should be wary of their environment from what we're seeing in the system, and that they should also ensure that they use face masks. We have one of our local blocks, I don't want to call names, because our institution is to ensure that weather information is disseminated. I'm a weatherman. But one local blog picked that up and then made some publications and said that SLMet has said that get for the past in the air. You create what? That is a rumor mongering. That's rumor mongering. Then you create rumor, you create fear, you create panic. So once we receive information about extreme weather events, we monitor from our systems. We don't just want to go promote them tomorrow. Somebody comes and say, SLMet, no. Then you play with the credibility of the institution. So when we get information, even from our global partners, we then cascade that down to our own systems, because we have weather stations across the country, meaning we get machine where we plant and grow. We have over 60 rainfall stations in this country. We have over 8 marine stations in this country. Is it enough? Like I said, it's not enough. We have over 12 agro stations, and now we have I think we are hitting 16 or more. You know, in all the 16 districts across Australia. Is it enough? No. We still need to do more. But we have systems to monitor flood mitigation actions, and once they happen, once extreme weather events happen, SMET gets the information, we monitor the systems, and we see that there is call for an alert, then we have to, bring that to the attention of NDMA, because we are all in, as like I said, the situation room as NDMA is functional. As I sit here right now, we are even meeting in the next 1 or 2 days to look at what has happened, to see how we pave the way forward. Because there is still rain in the system, like I said. There are climatic risks. There's localized flooding and flash floods expected across Freetown, even in the country. There's also the episode of heavy rainfall and thunderstorm. Mark you under climatology, thunder and ice October can come. But we started experiencing thunder even before this time. We also have uneven rainfall distribution across the district. We also have strong wind prevalence, and then we have high than average temperature across the city and across the country for the 2026 national season and rainy season. So as we go along, we are still monitoring, but please permit me to say this in Creole as we wrap up. Over the years, the innovative ways local community dwellers in the coastal zones been using over the years now for making the sansan bag. If you didn't Losh Shore, you didn't Laka, you didn't Hamilton, you didn't Dembezem, you didn't as far as Laka, begin to use sansan bag now. Put on the Pambodi. I had lived in the Aberdeen Creek for years. That's where I grew up. I lived there for years, and that's what I used to do over the years. Each succeeding year, I used to get bags of sand, put it behind my Pambodi to ensure that I'm not flooded. So if you didn't have the local community, now you sansan bag, not play with her. Advanced countries like Holland, Europe, they say they are what? They are how many meters below sea level? They have work on sea walls or sea dikes to ensure that water doesn't get to their communities. But locally in Sierra Leone, do sansan bag.
All right, thank you so much indeed. Success, I.S. Kamara, he's head of public relations at the SLMet agency. We thank you so much for being here this morning, and hope to be getting you from time to time as always to discuss these issues.
Always welcome.
We are going for a short recess. Shall be back soon. Stay tuned.
More and more people are using Wakeup SIM Copper Plus in their everyday lives. Did you hear that? She just transferred money for her daughter's school fees. And this man just paid for some products. Ah, Mr. Abu, are you sending money to your wife again?
Yes, Wakeup SIM couple.
Ah.
Yes, like having money in my pocket.
Ah, excellent.
Thank you.
he just bought some eggs. The world is digital, so keep up with the times. Have you got a payment to make? If so, just download Wakeup SIM Copper Plus now. You can download the Wakeup SIM Copper Plus app from Apple iStore and iPad or Google Play Store for Android users. You see, it's fast, safe and reliable.
Morning. Ria, give me 30 Leone top up. Thank you. Hello, babe. How you dey do? Talk to Uba.
Hello? Hello?
Don't settle for a provider that cuts into your data and airtime.
Ria, give me all the 30 deals.
AfriCell gives you full value. AfriCell, now we network.
Checking your motor insurance status can be done easily now with AfriCell. Dial *9292# from your AfriCell line. Press 1 to enter your vehicle registration number. Enter your vehicle registration number. You receive a confirmation message indicating your motor insurance status. AfriCell, the network for you.
You're still watching or listening to Wakeup Sierra Leone on AYV television and radio. Don't forget to send in your comments and ask your questions to the AYV News Facebook page. Well, next to communication. Earlier this week, Parliament summoned the Minister of Communication, Innovation and Technology, Salima Ba, in view of obtaining explanations regarding recent increase in scam using mobile networks.
The situation in recent time has left many people victims to fraud, losing monies and having emotional damage, among others. According to the Speaker, the fraudsters seem to be more comfortable these days with using Orange network.
So lawmakers across the aisle expressed concerns, sharing personal experience which is not isolated from broader citizenry. The House urged for broader supervision, coordinated track and tracing mechanisms, and for stronger protection.
The issue, according to many citizens, seems to be worsening daily and warrant urgent action, as it would seem. This morning, to discuss the issue in its entirety, we've been joined by the country's Minister of Communication and Technology and Innovation, Salima Monamapa. Good morning.
Good morning. Morning. Thank you for having me.
Then how big of a problem are we faced with, Madam Minister?
I think we're faced with a massive problem, but also faced with a massive global problem. I think it's important to contextualize this problem is not just a Sierra Leonean problem. This problem right across the region, even the UK and US. In the UK, it's actually called Hi Mom, Hi Dad scam. So this is a global problem. I say this not to prefer it as an excuse, but I think it's important to understand the scale of what we're battling with, so we understand what the context and what we need to do to be able to resolve that.
Mm-hmm. And the proceedings in Parliament, I know you were being, asked so many questions on that day. I mean, what came out of it?
I think it was important. You know, Parliament is the house of people. They're the representatives of people. As you mentioned, this is a situation that the people are rightly concerned about. So, rightly so, Parliament is also concerned. So, I think as a platform to be able to address the people's representative and then give them a context of what's been going on, what the ministry has been doing to resolve it, and to take feedback and directives from Parliament was also essential. So I think at the what was important is to elevate the conversation, which happened on a big platform as Parliament, to be able to address the issues and to take the comments, feedbacks, concerns, and hear from the people's representatives directly of what the people have been expressing, and we're able to take those on board, and we counter that and factor that into our plans and how we're able to address this.
You know, these attacks have become quite brazen, quite frequent these days. You know, someone will just sit there and see a message appear on their screen about, you know, using verification code to bypass whatever. It's most famous on WhatsApp, I believe. People's accounts being hacked daily. What I want to understand is there a particular format to these takeovers? What should people look out for generally? I mean, I know a lot of people in Sierra Leone are tech savvy, you know, still battling with technophobia, you know, low internet penetration, all of these kinds of things. But on the baseline, what should someone look out for?
I think that's absolutely a good distinction to make, something we've been battling to be able to communicate. And people think about these hacks. It's not a hack of your mobile number of itself. It's not a hack of, as I have my note. No, it's hacking your mobile number as directly you get from the operators. What they're hacking is an account. It's an app. It's an application, specific application. There could be a situation where you're hacked, your WhatsApp account is hacked, but your number is running regular. If you call directly, that's not hacked. So I think it's important to make that, and that understanding is there. Nobody's hacking the mobile money, your mobile money wallet. Nobody's hacking or going directly into your mobile money wallet and withdrawing money from there. None of that is happening. What we're seeing is a hack of WhatsApp. And I think to understand that is to understand how WhatsApp operates. WhatsApp operates, they use your mobile number in essence as your unique identification. There's as your username. That's what WhatsApp, that's the WhatsApp operation all over the world, right? So when you want to sign up to WhatsApp, you use your mobile number, they send you a unique identification code to through text message, so they're able to verify. And by the way, that's the reason why they do that. When they want to verify, they're not texting your WhatsApp, they're texting you through SMS, because that is never hacked, right? So they send you the unique verification code to your text message, and that is the number people give out. So for example, you can choose to transfer your WhatsApp account to different phones. Anytime you do that, they will ask you for that verification code, which they send as a text message to your mobile. Because by the way, you can have your WhatsApp account on a phone that is not what you use for not your line is. For example, I can have, if you have a separate number, you can have it on this phone, but I have a separate number that runs on it. So you can do that. So WhatsApp allows that. It's during that verification process. So if I know your number now, I can want to sign up, register it on the WhatsApp account. What WhatsApp does is to send the verification code to text message to the number owner. This is what people do now. They call the people, they play on the thing to say, such as you say, people not being savvy to say, and sometimes they don't do it direct. They don't say, give me your WhatsApp code. They say, oh, you're meant, usually what we see is, oh, join a meeting, or I sent you a code, but I can't access it. Can you please read it back to me? The moment you do that, you're giving them the code, which they now use to register your WhatsApp account, and then I'll send a message. And the reason why they're doing that, by the way, is to get access to your contact list, and to also to be able to impersonate you. Because if I've taken over your WhatsApp account and I send messages to your contacts, people assume it's coming from me. So in terms of what, and I think this is the first line of defense, it's the most important defense, is for people to be aware of how the scam operates and to have pointers of what to look out for. And there's several. Number one, if a number of contacts that you have who normally would not ask you for money, would not ask you for help, would not ask you for food, all of a sudden, this person who you would not expect to ask you for money asks you, should be one alarm bell. Alarm bell should go off immediately. A second alarm bell which should go off is when you read these messages, usually the same kind of tone. Oh, I've reached my limit. Oh, I was trying to send money to somebody. Oh, can you help me do? It's usually around that same, generic tones, right? That's one. So immediately you should be alert. And thirdly, what's most significant people should be aware of is when they send this message, they don't say send it to the number of the person you know. They usually say send it to this third-party number. And why they do that is because they don't have control over the mobile money account of the number that they've taken over through WhatsApp. So that's why they will say, oh, I was trying to send it to this other person, send it to this other number. So these three things, if a number that somebody who is in your contact who would normally not ask you for money, asks you for money, one alarm bell should go off. The message is usually then generic. I'm stranded, I was trying to send money to somebody, I've hit my limit, something of that sort. Second alarm bell should go off. Most crucially, alarm bell should go off if they're asking you to send it to another number. They're not asking you to send it to the number you know, they're asking you to send it to us, this third-party number. I think those three things people should look out for immediately. And one simple thing I would believe everybody can do to ensure that they don't fall victim to these scams is to verify. Don't verify by calling them through WhatsApp, verify by calling them directly. Because obviously if you call them through WhatsApp, the person has control over the WhatsApp. Verify, quick verification to say, hey, call the person, say, hey, so-and-so, was that you? I think those things, if people do, they'll be able to prevent themselves and ensure they don't fall victim to these scams.
Would you describe the situation as a cybersecurity crisis?
I would
quite common. Even yesterday, somebody messaged me asking me for money. I had to call on a regular call. I had to call my colleague, and then she later said, well, my phone has been hacked. So it's becoming like a trend, and it's all of a sudden.
It's a trend. It's a rise in trend, and it happens, by the way. Actually, it's interesting. It usually happens around this time of the year. So this has been going on for years. This is not a new thing. All of a sudden, it's just happening. It's been going. But what happens is when the trend rises and we do these rounds of educating people and sending them information out, we see it. And by the way, these things they do, they send that number to 100 people. It's a number game. They're playing a number game. They send it to 100 people. Maybe 2 or 3 are the only people who respond. That's 2 or 3 they get. So they're doing a numbers game, right? So we see this rise. We educate people, and we see the numbers go back down. People forget, and all of a sudden it sparks back up, right? So I think one of the things we're looking to do is to have a more sustained campaign and be able to educate people so they understand. But I think also what is important for people to know, so, this scam is not a scam that involves high-tech hacking of complicated computer systems. The scam is the latching on and they're looking to exploit a natural human instinct to help people. That's what they're banking on. They're banking on playing so that your emotion, when somebody comes in a distressing situation, your natural human instinct to want to help. That is what they're banking on. That is what they're gambling on, to be that somebody, if I send it to 100, out of that 100, 2 or 3 might have that natural human instinct to want to help and to want to respond to. So that is what we're saying. Again, this scam is going on all over the world. All over. When I say that, not to, again, say that it's an excuse, but to provide context. Sometimes we see people who are not, even foreign numbers.
Yeah.
Sometimes even foreign numbers. So this is going on all over. It's a big, cyber crime and cyber fraud is a big multi-billion-dollar business. There are criminals who their sole job is to sit and to figure out how systems work and think about how they can go about to find loopholes or find inroads within that. And this is what we've seen with this specific WhatsApp scam that goes on all over the world. And I think our job in Sierra Leone, what we're looking to do in Sierra Leone, is to educate our people. We know our people might be a bit more susceptible to fall to some of these scams because, as mentioned, not everybody might be as tech savvy. You click on a link, some random number maybe that you've never known sends you a link to say watch this video or go to this link, and you click on it without knowing, unbeknownst to that link has embedded malware which takes over your phone. Because it's not just this, there's some scams and there's some hacking which takes over control of your whole phone. So it's not just related to WhatsApp, it's an actual device of itself. So there's different levels and standards. So one of our jobs, critical job, is to educate people. Don't click on a link from somebody you don't know.
So I know we've been talking about educating the people, raising awareness and all of that, but beyond that, do you have any mechanisms in place to ensure that we track these rogue elements?
Absolutely. So, and again, when I was in Parliament, I gave an example, and I think one of the first important things is also notice, even with the rise of these hacks, what we're seeing actually is low reporting. I'll tell you, even within this space, and I know I have the messages on my phone. My colleagues, it happens to everybody. It's happening to people, even in my circle that I know, who they send me this message and I see it. And I think one of the things, though, we're seeing, though, even within this arise, and we know it exists, but the level of reporting is very low. I'll give you an example, and I know specific reference was made to Orange, for example, and I'll say, and I do want to qualify why people say why Orange. One of the reasons why Orange is because they have the largest market share when it comes to mobile money transactions. Over 81% of mobile money transactions happen through Orange. So in essence, it means that when more cases will be, in effect, it will be more of them will be coming from Orange. So that's one of the reasons why. In terms of tracking and trace, I'll tell you, to date, from January to now, they've only received around 700 reported cases of cyber fraud. But of that, I think only around 150 are specifically related to WhatsApp scams. I'm not saying 50 cases exist. I'm saying the reportation or the reporting of these cases is very low. And it's only when we report, two things can happen. One, if you report immediately to the operators, if there's a possibility that the money is still within the mobile money ecosystem, they can immediately freeze that money and reverse that money and ensure you can get that money back. That's why it's important to report as soon as possible, if you know, so that there might be a potential, if they haven't cashed out the money immediately, that we can freeze it and return it to you. The second reason why it's important to report is so we can track and trace and prosecute these individuals. There is a system in place. Currently, in alignment with the law, the MNOs and the police have a direct system where they're able to provide real-time information that's encrypted directly to the police in real time. So I will tell you, just this year, they have honored, well, one specifically, Orange, has honored over 18,000 requests from the police for know your customer information, the addresses of these individuals, to be able to track them. I gave that, I'm not saying the 18,000 cases is directly related to WhatsApp scam, but I give that number just so you know that there's the capability for them to be able to provide that information to the police. And that is also another reason why they don't immediately block the numbers. Because people ask, oh, why don't you immediately just block the numbers? If we block the numbers immediately, the police will not be able to track and trace and identify and be able to. So we leave the number on, so upon the request of the police, they're able to provide real-time information that that number is currently at that location. So that is a...
So with that, have we been able to track and get hold of any of these scammers so far, among the 150 reported cases that you just mentioned? So again, there's a thing of which there's a police process, which I'm not part of the police. So what I assume you have some level of collaboration.
Oh, absolutely. So we engage with them, but also by when they report it to, we report the case, they report it to the MNOs. People also have to follow up that report to the police. This I'm talking about reporting just to the MNOs, but people have to follow that report up to the police. It's only when you report to the police would be the one to ask for the information from the MNOs. Citizens can't ask for that. I can't even ask for that information from the MNOs. The police have to be the one to make that request to the MNOs, and the MNOs are able to provide that information to the police for the police to carry on their investigation.
Okay, Madam Minister, I'll be back with you. But for now, let's join our sports reporter, Maria December, for sports update.
Morning, Alima. For our sport updates this morning, two home-based Sierra Leonean coaches have joined the technical team of Sierra Leone's senior men's football team, while former Bo Rangers head coach Alhaji Fure has been appointed assistant coach 1. Fure led Bo Rangers to win the 2025-2026 Sierra Leone Premier League. And former Eastern Lions head coach Mohamed Lamin Kamara, who also guided Sierra Leone's under-20 men's team to the quarterfinals of the 2024 Under-20 AFCON in Egypt, has also been named as assistant coach 2. Kamara recently secured the 2026 Sierra Leone FA Cup with Eastern Lions, where both coaches will work alongside head coach French international Didier Gomez da Rosa ahead of the 2027 Total Energies CAF African Cup of Nations qualifiers. Away from that, champions of the Sierra Leone FA Cup, Easter Lions, have intensified their training sessions at their venue, Trade Center Field, as preparations continue for the upcoming CAF Confederation Cup preliminary rounds. Well, the CAF Confederation Cup first preliminary rounds opponent for the Killers will be determined on 6th August, which is today, when the draw takes place at CAF headquarters in Cairo, Egypt. Still on the Sierra Leone Premier League teams, Sierra Leone top-tier men's football club Star Sports Academy have continued their pre-season training in Kenema at full intensity as they prepare for the 5th edition of the West African Champions Cup in Guinea, where they will be making their debut. They are also preparing for the first preliminary round of the CAF Champions League qualifiers in September 2026. And now in cricket, Sierra Leone is gearing up for the ICC Under-19 Men's Cricket World Cup Division 2 African qualifier, slated for 9th to 15th August 2026 in Rwanda, where Cricket Sierra Leone has named its final squad of 14 players for the competition. The week-long competition will bring together 6 nations, including Uganda, Mozambique, Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, and as well as the host, Rwanda. After weeks of intensive preparation, the squad will depart the country today for Kigali-based competition. Well, that's all for Sport Update this morning. Over to you, Victor.
Well, thanks indeed, Esther Marisomora, for sport. But amidst something I'd like to point your attention to, I would refer to it as the case celebi if it were in law, but it's one of the most known, national scams we've had in Sierra Leone in years, the super advertised issue. Billions of leones, was confiscated later on by the government. What I would like to ask first is this: how come that company operated for almost 2 months without, I want to talk about regulation, because for them to have even set up, distributed codes to people, doing gambling online in Sierra Leone, that was quite huge. It's a pretty much audacious, scam, I would say. And they operated for 2 months without even not being noticed. Now, the government didn't do anything except for, well, they eventually froze the funds of people, almost billions of leones. Up to now, we've not had, from the government, what those funds were used for even eventually. What happened?
So I think one of the things sometimes we have to notice when these scams operate, they operate underground, right? When these scams operate, and I think, again, when it comes to some of these things, sometimes there's such a thing as too good to be true. Mm-hmm. There's no thing in the world where you double your money. There's no legitimate business that tells you to say, put one, I double your money into. None of that is ever legitimate. So I think there's an issue of, again, not to blame victims, but I think we'll have to be aware and vigilant and understand and such things. There's no legitimate. So one of these things they operate on an underground level, that it's among those, because also I would also challenge that there's nobody who legitimately tell me that they believe there's a legitimate business that says put one, get two. Nobody tells me that you believe that is a legitimate business that operates. So sometimes we have to understand when these scams operate, they operate within a circle of people who understand. Sometimes we know there's some victims who are completely unaware, but largely they operate within a environment of people who are aware of what is going on. And sometimes by the time it gets to that level, sometimes it's the authorities. It doesn't. The first point, not the authorities who are immediately aware. It's only sometimes actually when innocent victims get to before victims. That's who raises the alarm. It's operating on an underground level. Sometimes you don't get to see it until innocent victims that are targeted. Then that's when, and as happened with super advances. But I think one thing also to make clear when it comes to mobile money, to be honest, I know when they say mobile money, already immediately points to the telecom sector. But it's important to understand that when it comes to mobile money is licensed by the Bank of Sierra Leone. When it comes to the financial regulation of mobile money, that is regulated by the Bank of Sierra Leone, the Financial Investigation Unit. Those are the institutions that are responsible for putting the regulations in place when it comes to financial transactions. Those are the institutions that are responsible when it comes to when these issues happen. And I know when this happened, we've engaged with the Bank of Sierra Leone and the financial, and there's law and processes to it. People talk about when the account was eventually, and we can talk about, I think we also have a responsibility And one of the things we're working with the mobile operators to do is to have a system where people could go and easily verify this information. When you see these things happening somewhere where you can easily go, and I think as our sector, one of the things we can do to support and stop this is to have a platform where easily accessible to citizens where they can verify these information so you don't fall victim unbeknowingly. But we know some people participate and they know what's fully going on, and that also happens. But specifically when it comes to financing for that super advantage, there's a process. You know, as happened, the accounts were frozen, but one, you have to be able to legitimately identify who are the people, and that has to go through a court process, so the accounts are frozen.
Eventually.
So they're going through the court process. The court has to give an order. At the moment, they're still going through that, led by the Financial Investigation Unit and the Bank of Sierra Leone, because yes, the accounts are frozen, the accounts are there. You have to go through a court process to get a court order to know who.
Surely it will be very impossible to even locate all of those who have monies there.
So this is the challenge, because also, by the way, some of these individuals won't come forward because they know they were participating in an illegitimate exercise. So, and they know what they're doing. So now I think they look as well, it's a win or lose. So that process is going through the court processes.
We've seen also a proliferation of online harassment, release of pornographic materials, online, nearly every month now you would see these things online, phishing, for example, but hardly would you see the convictions. In Malaysia alone, I think in the last few months, they've had almost 800 prosecutions for cyber crimes. In Sierra Leone, it's zero. If you check online, there are no data absolutely, about, prosecutions. What is the law saying? Because since 2021, we've not seen much,
I wouldn't say there's zero. I think that's why we see the Cyber Crime Act being used, because the Cyber Crime Act actually makes that an offense for use to the cyberbullying, the cyber harassment laws, there's laws against sexual, sending sexual images of somebody. All those are in the current law. And I think we've seen one or two actually famous cases of people complaining, especially ladies.
People would say the state is using it to stifle free speech. That's the only way they use the law. Not to prosecute cyber crimes.
Well, one, people have to report. I think there's an issue. You can't just, the police just doesn't get up and one, there has to be a report of these offenses. But sometimes we say maybe we need to encourage and provide a safe space actually for more victims to report, because I think we have to think about society. When these things happen, oh, well, why you send the picture? Why you imagine we see ladies in a relationship with gentlemen. They, at that point in time, they send them a picture. Later the person uses that picture when the relationship has broken up to victimize them. And even sometimes friends. I think we've seen a couple of that situation between friends, and they do that. But what we actually also see, as society doesn't provide that safe space for victims to be victims. Because one of the things we see immediately, society, oh, why did you send the picture in the first place? Why did you put yourself in that compromising position? So that doesn't become a safe space for them to go report and follow the case. Because mind you, when you report this case, you have to go give evidence in court. So that thing of the victims being comfortable to go and stand in front of the court and be able to provide and give evidence. So there are the laws. There's the police cyber crime unit that is being trained and supported by our National Cyber Crime Coordination Center that supports them with the capacity and development to be able to follow these cases through. But I think some of the difficulties that we're seeing is potentially the willingness of victims to pursue these cases to them. But I do think when it comes to specifically, especially now with AI, right, with deep fakes and all of that, one of the things we're working together with the Ministry of Information, we're working together with the Ministry of Internal Affairs and the police to see, I think we need to do an amendment and a revision of our cyber crime laws. Because even though it was just 2021, but we've seen advancements in technology since then has happened. That paper has already gone to Cabinet. Cabinet has given approval for that. We're working on now and doing an assessment or look at what the reviews. And I know that will be a huge stakeholder consultation, because cybercrime bill is something the citizens are rightly concerned about. So when we get to that stage, those consultations and engagements will happen.
Just lastly, I know we're out of time, but I mean, a lot of people have said that this law, this particular Cybercrime Act, is quite draconian, perhaps much more than even the 1965 Public Order Act that was repealed, Part 5. Do you believe so?
Well,
and it's being used to target citizens.
I think there's one thing, I don't believe so. I think you could talk about the use and implementation, but I think this is one thing actually the Minister of Information specifically and myself have been discussing to see the current use and implementation of what is being used for when it comes to the cybercrime bill. And I think we're potentially looking at how we address separate needs. For example, as the Minister of Information, he's particularly concerned about information, disinformation, and how that information is being used with the cybercrime. As a Communication Technology Minister, when it comes to the cybercrime bill, I'm particularly interested in the cybersecurity, how we're ensuring we have systems in place to prevent ourselves from cyber attacks and we're able to respond. So part of this review, by the way, would be to look at how the cybercrime bill, maybe as drafted, is encouraging certain needs, and we'll look to how we address those.
All right. Well, many thanks indeed, Madam Minister. We so appreciate, your coming this morning. All the time is quite insufficient to discuss all the issues we have with cyber crimes in Sierra Leone, but we truly appreciate your coming. I really hope for you to be coming more frequently than this. You should be coming, actually. We should be hearing from you. These things are quite brazen now. They are ubiquitous. Every day you would see these things online, whether it's pornographic images being shared, or someone's WhatsApp being hacked, under surreptitious means. But thank you so much indeed for joining us this morning. And this is where I would say au revoir for today's edition of the program. Many thanks indeed to all of you who watched the program. Many thanks to our sponsor, Wakeup Commercial Bank, for the support to this program, and of course to you, our audiences across the globe. We say thank you. My name is Al Victor Jones, as always.
And I am Ali Matijet. Please stay tuned to AYV throughout the day as we have other exciting programs coming up. Till we meet again tomorrow, take care of yourself and remember to show kindness always. Do have a pleasant day.